I've got a problem. I don't get enough views on my videos. So I think, what's the best way to get views? And I realized, Sonic reviews get views, but that's not enough. I need more views than that. So what does better? Controversial Sonic reviews. Now this is something that I could do a bunch. I have a lot of unorthodox opinions about the Blu-Ray, but let's start with the one I can talk about the most. The game that became a joke to ignorant gaming journalists everywhere. The game where Sonic picks up a sword.
I really don't get what was up with the creation of the Sonic Storybook series. What gave Sonic B-Team the idea to put Sonic into classic literature? I get it's a spin-off, but it's just such an odd concept. I also don't get anything about this game's predecessor, Sonic and the Secret Rings, mainly how it got good reception and how it earned a sequel, because it's quite possibly the worst Sonic game ever. Even after 06. But I guess it was enough to get Black Knight made, and thank God, this is probably the winner for most improved sequel ever. The story begins nothing like a Sonic game, with a young elf being chased by a Black Knight and his army until she magically summons Sonic to fight for her, tearing him away from a chili dog meal, only to insist they run away because the Black Knight, King Arthur himself, is immortal by the power of Excalibur's scabbard. Not the sword itself, its scabbard. And speaking of swords, Sonic soon picks up Caliburn, his own sacred sword. Ain't enough to beat King Arthur, though. The girl, whose name is Melina, tells Sonic that he needs the Lady of the Lake to remove Arthur's immortality, so after a quick visit to the blacksmith to sharpen Caliburn and a fight against Lancelot, he finds Nimue. Oh yeah, just like Secret Rings, all the Arthurian characters are played by Sonic characters, though I'd say they better fit the characters here. Though it comes at a cost of complete lack of Eggman. Anyway, Nimue tells Sonic that he must prove himself as a knight before she'll reveal Excalibur's secret, so he takes care of a few chores to prove he's a stand-up guy, including not caring when Knuckles almost commits suicide. So Sonic needs to get the sacred swords the Knights of the Round Table carry to cancel out Arthur's immortality. Well, good for him, he's already got two, time to hunt down Best Girl. Despite the warning that she's fierce, Sonic beats her, earns the title of Knight of the Wind, badass name by the way, and you know what? Beats King Arthur too.
Yes! I did it!
Or did I? I.
That's not the end, because amazingly, a Sonic game has a legitimate plot twist. Melina reveals that Arthur was merely a creation by her grandfather Merlin to rule Camelot, but Melina wants the scabbard for herself to rule and was using Sonic as a pawn. Too bad he didn't hear anything before Melina takes it and she turns the castle into every evil fantasy castle. Once again, the solution is the sword. Sonic gives them back and lets everyone stab them into rocks to create a barrier while Sonic slays a dragon. The shield to stop Melina's dark magic is up, but it doesn't work, so Sonic goes in to confront Melina directly. She takes the opportunity to explain her motivation in what is honestly one of my favorite cutscenes in any game. I don't care what you think. Basically, she's seen the end of the story, that everyone's going to betray each other and destroy Camelot, and she wants to make it last forever. But since she's using dark magic to accomplish this goal, Sonic's against it and gets the shit beaten out of him as a result. But he doesn't buckle, and that bravery awakens Caliburn's true form, Excalibur, in your contractually obligated supersonic final boss. This time, Sonic has the upper hand, and defeat reverts Melina back to her normal state. And now that he's wielded Excalibur, Sonic has become the new king of Camelot, and missed a date with Amy as a result. The overall storytelling of the game is pretty basic, that's just what comes with the territory. The real appeal is the characterization. At least in the games, this is the best version of Sonic. He's genuinely a good guy, but he understands that what he does might not always look like the right thing. I mean, he is killing a king after all. But it doesn't matter because he knows that's what he should do. He still snarks, both in a joking and a too cool sense, but he treats the situation with real weight. Except for that suicide scene, he's an asshole there depending on how you look at it. It's also helped by the voice acting. This was the last game with the 4 Kids voice cast, and they've improved incredibly since they began. I think each game voice of Sonic has their own qualities, but overall, this game's Jason Griffith is my favorite. Everyone else does good too, but Jason Griffith steals the show. There's even a few actors from outside 4Kids talent pool that fans of the Walking Dead game should recognize. Speaking of the audio, god damn this soundtrack is fantastic. First off, on the vocal end, Crush 40 did 4 original songs for the game and a cover of the final boss theme, of which the original version is also excellent. The instrumental stage themes are also great. Particular favorites are Misty Lake, Great Megalith, and Dragon's Lair. Hell, I love 2 of the cutscene tracks, Marina's Ambition and Transform into Excalibur Sonic. Presentation-wise, it looks alright. Not quite colors good, but it's colorful and vibrant. I really like the style of the cutscenes, way better than the still and washed out Secret Rings. The progression structure is similar to Secret Rings, but vastly improved. Secret Rings had an issue of the player having no clue which of the many available missions would progress plot. Black Knight also has optional missions on the map, but the cutscenes always detail exactly what you're supposed to be doing, and they all clearly advance the story instead of fuck around until you can get a world ring. Level goals are also never as stupid. They're usually clearing a level traditionally, though sometimes you'll need to kill enough enemies, save enough peasants, or be charitable enough. Hey, as long as there's no egg mission. Gameplay seems mostly straightforward. Sonic runs fast, jumps in platforms, and beats enemies. There's just one minor difference. I don't even know if you've noticed it yet. Sonic has a sword. And don't think you can ignore it. It's not possible to kill anything without the weapon. Now, ignoring my extreme bias for swords, I really don't see why this was such a huge sticking point for so many people. First off, it's a spin-off. Of course they're trying something different, and I think a sword fits Sonic well. He swings with a lot of momentum and forward motion. It's really easy to tear through the crowds and carry onwards. Hold on a minute, some of you might be saying, I've seen footage of this game, or I've played it myself. There's no momentum, you stop all the time. Yes, that's true. If you suck.
This is as good of a time as any to get into the biggest complaint about the game. The Wii Remote. Now don't worry, this isn't like Secret Rings where even basic movement is motion controlled. There's an analog stick for that now, but swinging the sword is motion. Now, most people are under the impression that the best way to play this game is just to jack off with the remote, and you can win like that, but it won't be fun.
There's a surprising amount of accuracy in this game, to the point that it marks a significant gap between casual naysayers and the people who've enjoyed it enough to play it multiple times. Go compare the Game Grumps Let's Play of the game to the Great Clements for a full display. You can go fast if you don't waste swings, you gain meter by perfect shielding, you keep that meter longer in Soul Surge if you perform it with a perfect swing. The dynamic completely changes if you're willing to take the time to learn it. Maybe you want the game to conform to your playstyle though, you can only change it a little. Sonic is default in the balanced Knight style, but he can put more emphasis on speed or power with Cavalier or Paladin style respectively, but I think the balance is better. Same with the Knights of the Round Table you unlock later. They're locked into their different playstyles with their own qualities, but I don't think any of them compare to Sonic. Maybe you'll think differently, but those are my recommendations. On the more particular customization, you can equip items to the characters for minor buffs. Completing levels unlocks certain items, some of which are only for codex, while others offer little changes like 5 rings on start or greater identification point payout, but it's easy enough to overlook it. It's worth equipping something just because they don't have a negative cost, but don't feel bad if you don't. Weapon changes are entirely worthless though, because they need items to forge into a new weapon, and on the majority of my playthroughs, I've never had enough to forge anything. Listen, I know that this game has a lot of negative reception, and I know that I can't blame it all on game journalists thinking shitting on Sonic is cool. I admit that I can't entirely understand where it all comes from. I legitimately think this is a good game, but that's just what I think, so be wary on that. It's pretty love it or hate it. Maybe I'm not doing a good job objectively explaining why I think it's good, but to me, the only thing that matters is that I have legitimate fun while I'm playing it every time I play it. But it's not perfect, so I should really mention my complaints, just to assure everyone I'm not a blind apologist. First, while the control is usually okay, the side-to-side movement can be a little stiff. Second, the boss fights outside the final boss are awkward. Third, the quick-time waggle events during the fights are lousy. I swear they're laggy during the King Arthur fight, and I've never won a clash in the round table fights. Fourth, Blaze's level the Cauldron just outright sucks, and it took a long time to get good at Dragon's Lair. And finally, the game is short. Like, less than 2 hours to complete the story. I imagine if you paid full price in 2009, you'd be pretty salty about that. I don't blame you, but the fact of the matter is, it's a completely reasonable price nowadays. You're not losing much to try it out. And that shorter length isn't all a bad thing. It's so short that it's really easy to justify playing it again. It's not much of a time investment. Even if I don't think it's as good as Colors or Generations, I play it more just because it's such a relaxing experience, the same way something like Mega Man 2 is. I suppose, in a sense, that makes it one of my favorite games on the Wii. Yeah, I'm a bit of an enthusiast about it.
And you know what? I don't feel sorry about it. I like it, that's all I need to know to make my feelings legitimate. Can you explain objectively why you like what you hold dear? Logically break down why your favorites are better than everything else? No, that's what makes them good. They're our favorites for our own reasons and nothing else. Don't get so caught up in what's the best, just live life. Someday, one day, we'll say live life, I know. Hold on, hold tight, don't let go.